Welcome to The Road to Innovation, powered by the Kleinert Foundation. On each episode, we delve into innovative solutions to society's most pressing issues like sex trafficking, homelessness, and poverty. We hope that with each conversation, you'll be inspired to take actionable steps towards social change. Here's your host, Hannah Rabelais from the Kleinert Foundation.
Welcome to the Road to Innovation podcast, powered by the Kleinert Foundation. Today, I am so excited to have one of my favorite power couples in the building. We have Dr. Vanessa Bouché and Noel Bouché, the co-founders, of Savhera Essential Oils. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah.
Well, before we kick things off, I love how you all start every morning at Savhera. So y'all created the Diffusing Dignity, which is a collection of meditations. So if you don't mind, I would love to read one before we start our interview. So the one I picked today is dignity, which is y'all's core value. And so it says, all human life is full of value and worthy of honor and respect. But to recognize the dignity in others, the inherent value that can neither be created nor destroyed, though many may try, we must first recognize it in ourselves. For some of us, this may mean a need to heal from the places where others have not honored our dignity, value, and worth. It may mean a need for freedom and renewal from places of pain, abuse, and manipulation. When we grow in a deep awareness of our own dignity, our own value, our own honor, only then do we begin to appreciate the dignity of others. Only then can we celebrate the inherent value of all human life, which y'all are doing, and that's why we're here today, to just talk about Savhera and how y'all got started in your business model. So can you kick us off, what happened in May of 2017 that changed y'all's life forever?
So I had been leading study abroads in Delhi, India for the last 3 years. The first one was in 2014, and we partnered with an NGO that runs a medical clinic in the red light district in Delhi. And so in 2017, we were in that medical clinic sitting on the floor of the red light district, and a woman said to me, "Why should I tell you anything about my story? People like you come here and exploit us for our stories, which makes you no different than the people that exploit us for our bodies." And I said, "I very much understand how you feel that way. What is it that you need?" And she said, "I need dignified employment to get out of this dirty business." And those were the words that changed our lives. I told her that I wanted to help her do that. After 6 months of searching for a social enterprise that was working with women coming out of prostitution in Delhi, I came up dry. And so it became clear by January of 2018 that we needed to start something to make good on our promise to this one woman. And now we are employing 7 survivors of sex trafficking in Delhi. We have 2 managers, and we're employing 1 survivor of sex trafficking in the United States.
Wow. So how would you define dignified employment? So what does that look like to y'all?
Well, we didn't at first, and that was, part of the story. I wasn't there in Delhi when that meeting occurred, and Vanessa came home, and I remember when she told us, told me and our 2 daughters about that meeting and the impact of that. Because these meetings, you got to understand, obviously, these are individuals who are severely traumatized, and usually there wasn't a lot of engagement. So to have someone so boldly look her in the eye and stand up with a sense of self-worth and dignity and demand that was very, transformative for everyone that was in the room. And she came back and was kind of haunted by that. I made a commitment. And it burned her. I think at first it wasn't that big of a deal because we thought, surely there's something. And that was kind of my response. Well, you have a network, we'll find something. You'll find somebody who can employ her. And after 6 months, that didn't happen. And it wasn't until our third co-founder, Ushri Roy, looked at Vanessa after Vanessa said, "Ushri, I got this problem." She said, "Well, we have to start something." And I think part of the thing that's cool about that is the entrepreneurial journey. I mean, entrepreneurship is essentially, here's a problem that doesn't have a solution, let's find a solution. Mm-hmm. The dramatic thing here is that, of course, the genesis, the origin was a woman who had been in a life of exploitation, looks at another woman and through the translator says something that literally now has created a company that spans the world and is transforming lives. But that is a constant journey. It's been day to day. It's been transformative. And I think we'll get into it, but that's part of the reality of this is that, I mean, every day brings new challenges, which are just opportunities in disguise. And that was an example of that.
In dignified employment, I would say, when I think about it, I think, what do I expect in a job? And how have all of the opportunities that have presented themselves to me, most of which are an accident of my birth, right? How can I then create opportunities for others? And so for us, when we started this journey, we said, these women are going to be salaried, and they're going to be salaried at double the living wage of what the living wage is in Delhi, India. And
can you say can you talk a little bit about the living wage in Delhi, just for context?
Yes, so the living wage in Delhi is about 12,000 rupees per month, which equates to about $150 to $200 a month.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so we're paying them 20,000 rupees per month. So they have an employee handbook that they sign with policies and rules that we put together, just like we sign a contract with our employer and they give us an employee handbook, and it's a contract where there's certain rights and responsibilities of the employer and the employee. They have that. We explain that to them. We give them paid time off. We give them paid all of the holidays and festivals that the average employee would get off.
Which is a lot in India, by the way.
Lots of festivals, lots of them. They get maternity leave. So all of these things that I know that I would get in a job, or I would expect to receive in a job, are the things that we offer in our jobs for the women that we're employing, not only in Delhi, but in the United States as well. That is dignified employment. That is telling you as an employee that you are worth that. We believe in you. You have gifts within you that are not yet birthed, and we want to help you birth those. And it's not only going to benefit you, it's going to benefit your community, and it's going to benefit the world. And so we all, I've known that growing up from having a loving family and a supportive community around me. I've never really questioned that. So I can help others also realize that in themselves. And that to me is what dignified employment is.
And I love that you're also kind of just creating a model and setting standards for other businesses. Like, we all deserve dignity. We all deserve health benefits. We all deserve paid time off. Like, that is just human rights, essentially. And so you're even not only for setting the tone for those women, but other businesses to follow y'all as well. And I want to go back to the opportunities piece that you touched on. So at the Klein Foundation, we're primarily focusing on human trafficking in the United States and Texas specifically. But can you just touch on a little bit about what the issue looks like in India? And then, how did these women get into this position? Because it definitely is a lack of opportunity. So can you just touch on that for a minute?
Yes. So I would say, first of all, the ILO, the International Labor Organization, estimates that there's 40.3 million people in slavery in the world, and 45% of those are estimated to be in India. Now, when you look at the population of India, of course, it's about 45% of the global population. So we're really looking proportionately at the global population, but nevertheless, slavery is a major issue in India, and not just sex trafficking, but labor trafficking as well. The vulnerabilities are significant. And when you are a poor community from a low caste, living in a rural area with no opportunity for education, zero opportunity for upward mobility, you look for ways to get out and to help provide for your family. And so you're willing to trust anybody that comes your way and says, I can get you a job in the big city. Come with me, I can get you a job in the big city. And unfortunately, many times that ends up being family members. So it can be an aunt or an uncle, or people that parents otherwise have reason to believe they can trust, right? And then they end up getting lured to the big cities, and all of the production employees in India were trafficked to the red light district in Delhi, believing that they were going for something else, every single one of them. Oh, wow. And they were tossed into the brothel, basically never to see the light of day again. Outside of the brothels. So yes, it definitely boils down to a lack of opportunity for upward mobility and for education.
Do you have anything else to add?
I would just say that, that is really the piece that came together for us, having both been in counter-trafficking work in different spaces, as an attorney, as a researcher, as an academic activist, that was, our eyes were opened when we were confronted with this bold woman who's now our employee, and said, I want a job. I need economically sustainable livelihood. That's what propelled us into a new space, saying this is part of what the future holds for those of us who want to make a difference, create more justice in the world. It's going to take not just feel-good videos and nonprofit campaigns and some rescues. All of those are part of it. But the next step that hasn't been touched is creating that sustainable employment and the dignity that comes out of that. And so it's been just amazing for me to watch, the incredible women who have led this, to be a part of this team, to see the first day they got their uniforms and their badges, those elements that we might take for granted, pay statements, having taxes taken out, actually having a job that is legitimate and normalizes you as a citizen, is really, really powerful. And it led us in part to the market as well. I'm sure you'll want to ask about why essential oils, but that, that was an element, the dignity that this product, vis-a-vis some other products that we could have chosen, great products, accessories, and India, of course, with textiles and jewelry. We said we need something that is going to, be a space that nobody's in yet in a real way in terms of social enterprises, B, that has real market opportunity, and C, that can create something new, that can literally be diffused, literally create an environment that is dignified, that is healthy, that is that just proclaims wellness, hence essential oils.
Yes. And because of the lack of opportunity, y'all have created a human development model called the PIES approach. And so can you talk about that, how you developed it, and what does PIES stand for, or what does it mean?
So both Ushri and I come to this from a very strong academic lens. And so we said, okay, we believe, and we hypothesize that on the basis of...
Academics, they use words like that.
Yes, we hypothesize that on the basis of our production employees taking a job with Savhera, we believe that it's going to significantly change not only their lives, but the lives of their communities, and then the lives of the world, because of the skill set that they will then be able to contribute to the world. And so we said, but we want to figure out a way to monitor and evaluate that in a systematic manner. And so what we did was we developed this human development model called PIES, and that stands for physical, intellectual, economic, and spiritual growth and development. And we said that on each of these 4 dimensions, we believe that there are 3 levels. There's the micro level, which deals with the individual. There's the meso level, which deals with the community and their families. And then there's the macro level, which deals with the ways in which these employees can now give back to society physically, intellectually, economically, and spiritually. Mm-hmm. So once you're full, once you're filled up and all of your needs are taken care of, you can now pour out, right? And that's what the macro level is all about. And so when our production employees first take a job with Savhera, we take a baseline assessment, which is a survey essentially of where they're at on all 4 of these dimensions. And then over time, we continue to monitor them on these dimensions, and we have our sort of theory of how we want to see them progressing. And so the great thing is that we want to develop a model that was replicable to other organizations that are similarly employing vulnerable populations. It doesn't have to be survivors of exploitation. It can be any vulnerable population. And frankly, when Ushri and I created this, we said, this is a model for all human beings. Yes. This is a model for me, right? When I think about my current health and development, how am I doing? How am I doing physically, intellectually, economically, and spiritually? And am I at a place where I'm now able to give back? Or am I still stuck in this micro space of like my own healing, right? And what steps do I need to take to get out to that macro level so that I can start contributing back to society? And so that we developed it so that we can, in a systematic way, do that for our own production employees, but we also are looking to publish this and make it available to any organization that's working. And we think that it's a really powerful tool to measure the way in which vocation and job can be used for healing when it's in the right environment.
That's powerful. We'll keep a lookout for that. Do you know when it's going to be published or have any idea? Are you still working on it?
We're still working on it. And, our first 7 production employees in India are kind of the guinea pigs of us testing it and piloting it. And then we continue to tweak our surveys and our evaluation tools. And then once we're comfortable with where we're at on those, we are going to be publishing it and making it available. But the whole reason for the Diffusing Dignity Book of Meditations was because part of our spiritual component of the module is starting the day in a reflective state of mind. Starting the day where in a unified state of mind. And so we'll sit in a circle and light a candle and be meditative and reflective and unified in that, so that when we start off our workday, we're not starting off in a hurried, fast-paced, stressful environment. Rather, we're starting off in a peaceful environment to say, the whole reason why this company exists is for you, is for me, is for us. And we need to make sure that we are good inside before we start getting all harried about the things that we need to do on the outside.
Because Delhi traffic is very hectic. So if you've ever been there, you need to calm yourself before you enter any workspace or anywhere.
And very hot.
Yes.
And we could keep going.
Yeah.
But we should probably also mention that, when we launched, we had a group, our first employees, who came to us through our NGO partner, Shakti Vihini, which they've done for 2 decades, incredible work and courageous work. And were it not for them, Savhera wouldn't exist. But this first group of employees, we said, hey, you guys are stakeholders, our primary stakeholders. This is our purpose, our raison d'etre, our reason for being is to provide you dignity, dignified employment. We said, we want you to name it. So they came back the next day on a Skype call and said, we've chosen it. It's Savhera, which is a Hindi word meaning dawn or new beginning. And that kind of flows into the ethos of the meditation book, of the Pies model, that every day is a new beginning. Every day is a new dawn. Every cycle, and its continuous cycles of healing, are there for us. And that flows into our corporate values, which are dignity, integrity, and excellence. And that's one thing I love, because you can see just the latent talent that this whole enterprise has kind of emerged, not just in our employees who have come out of a life of exploitation and poverty and marginalization and are now thriving, but everyone else who's come to the team. We are all experiencing new beginnings, and we're experiencing new beginnings as we diffuse these incredible 100% pure USDA certified organic oils. And it just creates this environment that is about healing and ultimately excellence. Excellence in the West, we like to bandy that about. And it's kind of like, we're going to be the best. We're going to keep innovating. And that's true, but excellence literally means to rise up. And so that's, again, part of what Savhera is. It's a rising up every single day.
Wow. So why essential oils? You have the big brands out there. You got, everyone kind of just on, they've kind of chosen their brand. Why did y'all decide to break into that market? How has that been for y'all? And also talk about the healing these women are having, experience just the natural, just wellness of essential oils.
So there were several criteria that we started with when we were just ideating about, okay, we're going to create something to give women employment. What is that something? And so the criteria were, number one, we wanted something that was deeply rooted in Indian culture and tradition. Number two, we wanted something that was in the health and wellness industry, preferably something that by virtue of the women working with this product, they would experience some kind of healing themselves. Number three, we wanted a product that was in a growing market where there was room for a socially conscious brand option that didn't currently exist. And so given those criteria, we essentially landed on either tea, spices, or essential oils. And we ended up on essential oils mainly because of the growth in the projected growth of market demand. So the essential oil industry is anticipated to grow 10% per year for the next 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And so there's significant room in that marketplace for a socially conscious brand to enter in and to do things differently from the way things are currently being done. And so there's various things that we have decided to do in an extremely intentional way to set ourselves apart as a brand in this growing market space.
And what are those things? Is it the Petals Promise? Is that how y'all kind of formed it? Can you talk about that?
Yes. So the Petals Promise is our quality guarantee promise regarding the quality and the integrity of our product. And so Petals is an acronym. And it kind of goes through the entire process of from planting the seed planting the seed for the plant to sprout up, from which your oils are then distilled, all the way to our shipping and using 100% recycled shipping materials. And so our Petals Promise is essentially, it goes planting, extracting, testing. Testing is a really big one because many of the largest essential oil companies don't make their tests of their oils publicly available. And that is a lack of transparency. There's a lot of really, really poor quality essential oils on the market. And so in order to ensure that you are getting what they say that you're getting, you should demand that you have accessible test results as a customer. Many oils that say they're 100% pure actually are quite adulterated and diluted and contaminated and have synthetics. And so we do independent testing for every single batch of oil, and then we make our oil test results available on our website for every batch. So that's the testing. So planting, extracting, testing, the A. What's the A? And then it goes all the way to shipping. And so our entire process is we ensure you quality at every single stage of the process, that we are environmentally sustainable in the way we do things. That is one of the reasons that we chose to only sell USDA certified organic oils, was because of environmental sustainability. Part of the negative side of the essential oil market growing at the pace that it's growing is that it takes a significant toll on our ecosystem, because these are natural products and you have to grow plants and grow trees. And in order to extract it, you have to extract the plants and extract the trees from nature. And so there's a big push in the essential oil industry right now regarding sustainability. And one of the ways that we can ensure that we are doing no harm to the environment is through USDA certified organic oils, and that's just one extra check on the quality of our product and our quality guarantee. And we want to continue to work on improving our supply chain. That's one of our commitments as we grow over the course of the next 5 years, is to have closer relationships with our producers, closer relationships with our farmers, so we can tell you, Hannah, when you buy an oil, this is the farmer that's growing that crop and distilling that oil for you. We want to connect our consumers back to the land in ways that, unfortunately, in a industrial society and now a knowledge economy, we are not used to. But it's so important because it humanizes the people. Our goods don't just pop out of the sky and come out of nowhere. People are working to provide us with these things, and we need to value those people. And so that's why we want to work on our supply chain and ensure that that we're knowing who our producers are.
And the product is amazing. I definitely smell the difference. And I'm not just saying that because I'm such a huge fan. When I open, especially the eucalyptus, I think that was like one of the first essential oils I smelled from y'all. And I opened that up, and I was like, I have never, you could just smell the pure, I was like, this is what really organic really should smell like. And I just cannot believe that it just is such an elevated product. And I think y'all have proven that. And now I'm like, exactly like questioning everybody else. I'm like, what else is really, truly organic? And so I just really admire that about y'all, trying to be like just honing in on that transparency, which we need to ask more companies to do. And I love that you're leading the charge in that regard. I love how we had a conversation earlier about how Everlane, they have like the GPS tracking on where their manufacturing are, and you can go see that. And I know that's something y'all are working towards as well. But what else makes y'all stand apart as a company, especially in the essential oil field?
Well, I mean, really, we from the get-go, we said we want everything to stand apart. We want to differentiate this enterprise in the way we're formed. So we're formed as a public benefit corporation, which is a new corporate model that, you can think just in kind of shorthand terms. It's a combination of nonprofit and for-profit. So we need to create a sustainable enterprise that's going to create dignified employment that has a social impact, in this case, that dignified employment. So Benefit Corp allows us to do that. We have shareholders. And we are dependent not on donations, but on actually producing an excellent product that our sales revenue will sustain us into the future. And yet, our company, from our shareholders to our board of directors to our employees, is focused on that social impact of countering the injustice of human trafficking by creating dignified employment. That's one model. Getting certified as a B Corp by B Labs.
Process.
Yeah, well, you can drive that, but we want to do everything we can to put stamps. Whether it's our Petals Promise, whether it's our Pies model, as people come and say, "Man, this is a great product, but also a different company." We want every stamp to verify that we can. So B Labs B Corp cert is one of those. It's going to just put us in a community, that helps us grow and seek excellence as a new startup social enterprise, but also hold us accountable. And that's what we want. That's part of transparency, is saying, I want to be held accountable. We are doing something that is changing lives and literally changing the world. We need to be open, transparent, have light shining on every aspect of that. Whether it's our pricing, which is priced affordably.
Yes, that's so important. Can you talk a little bit about why your pricing is affordable?
Well, I'll let you jump in, but again, we're creating a community and we're creating excellence, and we want people to be able to not only afford that, but want to come in. And so, we're creating pricing that is sustainable because of, in part, our business model. It's not dependent on a certain sales system that has, a framework that, I'll let you talk about, but we're actually going right through our e-commerce site to consumers saying, just come, see. We're open to the world. Everything on our site, everything we're doing, all the people that we're employing, the ways we're doing it, our financials, right here, and you can get an affordable product that is premium. Yes. Premium. I mean, that's what sets us apart. So we want to compete on everywhere, including that pricing.
I said this at a market that we were at recently, and my friend said, never say that again. But basically, our pricing is low because we really want to democratize essential oils, quality essential oils. In other words, everyone should be able to afford this healing product, this product that is so good for you for so many reasons. And so just like we have food deserts, right? We have essential oil deserts where certain populations could never in their wildest imaginations even think about affording a 10 milliliter bottle of oil from two of the largest companies. Mm-hmm. They just won't ever be able to do that.
And so I stopped using those because I couldn't afford that.
Right.
It is ridiculous. And you have to go through somebody, and there's so many hoops and barriers to wellness. And I just love how you brought that to the everyday person, that just even having a couple is way more affordable than just buying one little bottle from somebody else.
Right.
So that's a passion of mine. So as we know, being an entrepreneur in a startup, it's not all rainbow and butterflies, and y'all have done so well just since y'all started. But what are some of the challenges that you can share that y'all have been experiencing?
Where do
we start? Yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about just like tomorrow, yesterday?
Sure, this afternoon.
So I have a sense of what tomorrow's challenges are already. I think, again, as an entrepreneur, you're setting out to solve a problem that no one has tackled yet. I mean, whatever that product is, whatever that innovation is. So you're inherently facing problems every day. And I think one of the things, this is a takeaway for anybody out there who's on this path or thinking about launching, you have to come to a place where you accept and almost have your perspective shifted to where you see problems as opportunities. And it sounds kind of cliche, but it literally is how you move and find solutions. Every problem is not a failure. It's not a setback. It's an opportunity. We've seen that with everything from setting up a very complicated corporate structure with an entity in India to our finding facilities that were safe and zoned properly and affordable for a startup to dealing with suppliers we've dealt with some suppliers who didn't deliver what they said they were going to deliver or weren't able to, and so it's forced a lot of pivots. Being married as entrepreneurs, we're learning, we're setting up boundaries that we hope are healthy, dignified, leading to excellence, creating integrity. But it literally is. I mean, you have to have a support system. So anyone who's a founder, people will come around you and say, you need to have a support system. We were just talking with a friend the other day who's an entrepreneur. He said, I'm surviving because I have the right ecosystem of relationships around me. And again, that's reflective of what Savhera is all about. We're creating a new community that is filled with new beginnings every single day, and that's been key for us. Some of that you can't plan. It's just fortuitous. It's providential.
Yeah, but this whole idea of business being used as a force for good, right, is relatively new. I mean, still to this day, there's, I think, 33 states, I want to say, that have public benefit corporation as a business designation in the law, which means that there's still 15 states that don't even have that as an option as a business designation. Now, of course, if you're incorporated in that state, you can still apply to be a B Corp, right, through B Labs. But I think that there's still some questions around whether it's possible to be profitable and socially beneficial at the same time, right? To really succeed in that double bottom line that you face as a social enterprise. And making the case for that to investors is sometimes difficult, because unless they believe in you as an individual, because the model is relatively new and we will not compromise on our values, period. We will not pay people a dignified wage, right? We will not provide them the benefits that we believe that you give a human being because they're a human being. And so we know, because we have done the financial modeling, that it can be profitable and it can be successful, but it's still financial modeling, right? We haven't necessarily proven that we can do that. And so that is a challenge. Is it shifting people's mindset around the purpose of business. Is it all about profit? I mean, yes, it's important to make a profit. It's important to build a profitable business. For us, the reason for that profit is to continue to provide jobs for people who need them so desperately and who nobody else is willing to believe in. And so there's great things that we can do with that profit to change the face of society as we currently know it. And that's the vision that we have, is to be a leader in that space, to say, look, business can genuinely be used to change the way society looks. It can actually reduce inequality rather than increase inequality. It actually can do that. It actually can lift everybody's boats if you're willing to not be driven by greed, but rather be driven by dignity, integrity, and excellence.
Wow.
Mic drop?
Mic drop.
You want to drop that?
Yes. Well, I just want to thank you both so much for taking that charge and taking that lead and kind of stepping into the unknown. Exactly. There's not that many people doing it. So just hats off to you and your team for just making a way for others to do this. And so if you want to learn more about Savhera, please visit their website. Also, you can visit the Kleinert Foundation website as well, www.kleinertfdn.org/blog, which will have all the links to the Savhera website. We'll do a little summary of our interview today, but I really could talk to you. I mean, I feel like we just kind of got started, but we might have to do a podcast number 2. So
let's do it.
Let's stay tuned to that. But again, thank you so much for your time. I know y'all are super busy. But then again, if you need any more information, like I said, please visit our websites. And thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Road to Innovation, powered by the Kleinert Foundation. If you'd like to learn more about today's social innovator, please visit kleinertfdn.org or the podcast website at theroadtoinnovation.com.